don't want to do it.
Well, the clock's about to strike 10. You guys want to roll into it?
Yeah, let's go, man.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to the CAMO Convoy. And this is another live broadcast coming to you on a Thursday tonight. So tonight, we're talking about bringing the kids overlanding and off-roading. And when you overland with kids, everything changes, right? You bring more, you stop more, and sometimes the plan that you had isn't the plan that actually happens. But somehow, if you've done it, those trips are actually some of the most memorable trips you're going to take. So tonight, we're going to confuse you because I brought another Nick onto the show. So this is Nick from Explore, Discover, and Adventure Together. And we're going to talk about what it's like bringing kids along on the adventure because Nick has been building some really cool things that we're going to talk about. So Nick, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me out here.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. And you know what? I've been following you, I think, on TikTok forever. And there's a lot of similarities too, which I think we'll hit on, which is cool. So before we dive into kids, why don't you give just a quick background on you and really where you're from and how you guys got into the whole overland off-road world?
The overland part's a weird little accident, but I was born in Erie, Pennsylvania, which I heard you just mention the other day.
Yeah.
Well, a small town outside of Erie. And before I moved away in 2003, I was working for a relative's business, and they were really big into racing. Dirt track stuff is real popular up there, so I kind of got a little bit of the bite in the background, working in big block modified teams, building chassis and all kinds of replacement parts. He had a business where he sold all those, so that's kind of how I got into the whole. I don't know what you want to call it. I'm a redneck, you know?
Yeah.
Through and through, I'm a redneck, and I learned how to build stuff. How to build stuff by breaking stuff, you know? And so I got my background there. And yeah. And from there, I moved further south, and I worked for a construction company for a while. And then when the housing market crash happened in 2008, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. The jobs that I had were not really available at that time. I was like a project manager, and but I had all this. I used to work in a fab shop for a long time, you know. So one of the guys that I worked with at the construction company just got out of motorcycle school. So together we were like, well, the company he was working for was kind of folding, so we were like, let's start our own hot rod and Harley shop, you know. And it was a dumb idea for two guys with no money, you know, but 17 years later we were still kicking it. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty old. We've been doing it for a while, but everything we do is old. A lot of the guys that I work with or do work for, you know, have a lot of vintage 4x4 stuff, you know, and that just kind of sets the bug into doing some of those things. And, you know, if it's got a motor in it, I can figure out how to work on it, you know. Nobody's ever taught us really how to do anything, but we just sort of figure it out as we go along. And a couple of my customers were really into like the overland camping stuff. And, you know, I was doing like LS swap on an old International Scout for him, you know, and just kind of checking stuff out, and we're changing things up, you know. I was like, well, this would be kind of fun. And then this guy that tows for us, he brings us this crap all the time. Like, I don't know if you guys know any tow truck drivers real well, but they will just try to dump garbage on you, you know. And he called me up. He's like, hey, Nick. Yeah, I got this Yukon you need. And I was like, that's the last thing I need. You know, I was like, no, I'm telling you, it's cheap. And I was like, you know, usually when somebody tells you something is cheap, if it's free, it's not cheap enough, you know? And he's like, it's like $400. And I was like, come on, this thing's gotta be a turd. And I rolled down there, and it was a turd, you know. It did run. He's like, well, just take it for a ride down the road. And it's a GMT 400, a 98 Yukon. And everything's making noise, but it's running. You know, he was true about that. It does have some brakes. It does have some suspension. And I was like, I don't know. And I told my buddy at work, and I was like, he's like, man, that's so cheap. You got to get it and just go destroy it or something, you know? And
send it.
Okay.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
okay, that I can get down with that. It's $400. We could mess something up, you know? And so he's like, I'll even tow it over there for you. I was like, a good thing, because it's probably not going to run the 3 miles back to the shop. So I get it. You know, I called my wife and I said, hey, I'm going to make a mistake and buy this thing. And she's like, okay, you know, whatever. And I got it, and I was like, you know, this is really filthy, but it's kind of cool, you know? And I was like, well, it needs some brakes and suspension work before it really ever touches the road. So I just go through and do the normal. Those things are so cheap to work on, you know?
Oh,
Parts are everywhere. Parts are everywhere.
And they made so many of them.
Right. And, you know, if something happens to it, you can find junkyards full of all that stuff everywhere, you know? And so I went through and I fixed the brakes and I fixed the suspension. I didn't do anything custom to it. I was just trying to make it, you know, driver.
Yeah, and, roadworthy.
I got all that done, and I was like, I wouldn't put a tag on it, insurance on it. And I told my wife, I was like, you know, Tristan's starting to get a little bit older. Let's, maybe we'll kind of turn it into like our adventure vehicle. And, she's like, whatever, you know. And I was driving this, here's a similarity. I was driving this POS Ford Focus all the time. And,
third gen?
I don't even know. I don't follow that kind of stuff. It was a 01. It was a 01 Ford Focus, you know. So
that was when they were like better than the third gen.
I'm telling you, that thing was a science experiment. When I bought it, so I'm going to go off track a little bit here, but I bought that thing for $600 from some dude in a parking lot. You know, I traded him a rifle and $600 for this car. And he's like, you know, he didn't speak very much English, and he's like, here you go, you know, and hands me a title. I was like, all right, cool. And I drove it like 2 hours back, and it's a manual transmission, you know, just a basic little car, but it got like 32 miles to the gallon. And I was hard up, you know, and I was hard up for cash. And so, and I had just toasted this other old vehicle that I was driving. So I'm driving that thing, and I don't like it, you know, but, and I don't know if you guys have preferences, but I am not a Ford person. You know, that's
me either.
it kind of, I had to take a shot every day before I got in that thing so I didn't catch something, you know? So, so I was stuck driving this thing, and I really wanted to get in something from the GM family again, you know? So I started messing around with it, and you know, it's like, okay, it drives pretty good. The Yukon I'm back to, it drives pretty good. I'll start driving a little bit to work. So I start toasting around on that thing. And then like, one of the other shops called me, and he's like, hey, I know you bought that Yukon. I just bought this truck, and it's got a lift kit in the toolbox that nobody ever put on. You want it? And I was like, all right, you know, and I was like, what do you want for it? He's like, I don't know. Give me like $200. And it's like a 6-inch rough country lift, you know, nothing fancy, you know, but
right.
It's a start to something. And I kind of like, I've done a lot of those. I kind of like the way they retain a factory ride when you put them up there, because it's not stretching torsion bars or anything. It's literally dropping your suspension down and dropping your differential down, you know, and so it rides good still. So I got that and put on it. I was like, okay, you know, now I need to fill in all this gap that's in here between these tires. So I was looking for wheels and tires, and I'm driving the thing a little bit, and then all of a sudden, I think it was the transfer case went out on it. And I was like, crap. I got like $700 in this thing now, and it's riding pretty good. Now my transfer case goes out, you know, and let me see. I don't know how to work on that kind of stuff, you know, and I just was busy with work. So I called this other dude that does like transmission stuff for us sometimes. And I said, hey, what would it cost to do the transfer case on this thing? And I think he said, you know, this will be like brand new. It'll be like $800, you know? And I said, all right, might as well, you know, that'll put me at like $1,300 into it or something, you know, that's still a good deal.
It's like that song, the $1,000 car.
Well, it gets worse. It gets worse. So I got this $1,300 in this thing, and I'm lifted now. And, you know, I've, this thing was filthy. I parked it on a hill and pressure washed the inside of it out, you know, it was bad. And, so I got a new transfer case in this thing, and it had like an injector leak down and it hydrolocked the engine. I didn't realize what was happening. I just sort of cranked it through it, and then all of a sudden it had a really bad rod knock on. I was like, no. Oh no, oh no! I just stuck. I should have walked away from this thing $1,200 ago, And I was like, well, I hop on Marketplace and I find somebody that's got one that's like, he's doing like a show truck thing with it. And he shows me the dash and it had like 63,000 miles on this engine. I was like, all right, might as well. So I got another like $600-700 into it and swapped that out in a day. And I'm cruising again, like, all right, now we're getting into the reliability stage because there's getting to be less stuff to break. And that's the dumbest thing to think,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And those come with a 4L60E, so it was like 2 weeks after the engine, there goes the transmission. But I thought it was the transfer case again. So I was like, oh no, he did something wrong. I think it's the transfer case. And I pull the transfer case off and pull the fluid out. It looks normal. I was like, oh no. And I drop the pan and it's just full of little springs and bearings and all kinds of crap. So yeah, there goes another $1,900. And now I'm committed, It's like now I got
this is a build now.
Oh man, it's beyond that now, because now I'm talking like I've got $4,000 in this thing that looks like a $400 vehicle with a 6-inch lift kit on it. Now I'm way upside down, So I was like, well, something that I got this kind of money in, it's got to have like working air conditioning and all this crap, So I'm just straight parts cannon in this thing, and getting it all squared away. And I'm liking it, and I'm really liking that I'm not driving the Focus so much anymore, because science experiment, I owned that vehicle for 100,000 miles. I changed the oil at 70,000 miles, and then like right before I gave it to somebody. And I think over those 6 years, I washed it even less times than I changed the oil. I mean, it was bad. So I was all in on this Yukon, and I got it the way I liked it. It drove good, and my son was helping me do things to it, and one of my buddies is like, hey, I'm going out to Cape Lookout. I don't know. Have you guys ever been there before?
The beach Cape?
Yeah,
Lookout,
Outer Banks. You take the ferry, you put your vehicles on the ferry and run out onto the beach. And
so I haven't. Yeah, I haven't been on the ferry, but I've been to the, what is that, Corolla or whatever.
Right. Yeah, so they got a ferry and they run you out there, and I had my son with me. We were just camping in the truck, but it was just a lot of fun. It was cool. It's not like so much of an off-roady thing, because it's a, 20-mile long island, and you just drive up and down the island. And I think I want to go back again, but I want to do some
fishing?
Just do some surf fishing, and because it kind of gets, unless you're there to drink, there's not much to do during the day other than drive those 20 miles back and forth, and there's a few things to look at.
Right.
But if you're into fishing, there's some cool things you can snag out of there. So him and I did that. Him and I did that together, and that was just kind of a cool experience, and so after we got back, sort of life happens, and we do a couple other little trips. And we're kind of hooked, like I got my truck the way I want it, and everything's good, and we're kind of hooked. So we just started rolling with it, and he's a pretty little kid. I think he was 11 when we started our big build that we've just kind of finished up. But, that's kind of how we got into it. It's just working on stuff and being around things that are similar to it,
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Now you mentioned the camper. So how did that come about? Because I kind of followed this in bits and pieces. I saw like when you got it, and then I kind of heard the plans, and then bam, it was done. Or at least
I think it's just because I didn't do much on TikTok until, you might have noticed it then or something like that. But
yeah.
It all started out with somebody else that owns a tow truck driver, or somebody else that's a tow truck driver called me and said, hey, I got this 4-wheeler. And I was like, okay. He's like, well, it's cheap. Yeah, it's like, perfect. I'm a glutton for punishment. Let's go down this road again, and he tells me it's a 300. And I was like, okay, Tristan's getting bigger. He had a little 50cc Chinese thing, that he ran around on. And now we're looking at a 300 Polaris. I was like, all right, that's cool. We'll do that. We'll go down that road. And he was like $500 or something, and I'm I don't know much about four-wheelers. Like, I used to race dirt bikes a little bit when I was a lot lighter and a lot younger. But he's like, I haven't ran it in a while, but it ran last time, and he's a pretty trustworthy dude. He's like, it's been sitting here for like 6-7 years. You'll probably have to clean out carburetor and stuff and get it going. And I was like, oh man, I didn't realize it. This tank on the front is a oil tank. This is a 2-stroke. So I'm about to put my 11-year-old on a 600, a 300 2-stroke, which is about like 600 displacement. It's going to be fun, So luckily my kid's pretty, I saw your boy Whiskey throttle into the garage the other day. My son's pretty good. He doesn't do that kind of stuff. So I wasn't quite so worried, but I try to fire it up. It's like, oh man, this piston scored. We're rebuilding this thing, and it's like, all right, Tristan, I bought you this 4-wheeler. I wanted to get it running before I showed him, but once I found out it needs an engine fix, I was like, boy, we're getting into this thing. So together we jumped in there and we jumped in there and stripped it down. I found a guy on eBay or something that bores and hones those things and sends it out. We put it on and fixed a few things. Runs like a top. It's way too fast for an 11-year-old to be driving around, but he's pretty conservative with the throttle, luckily. So he's riding that thing, and I was like, we need to get a trailer because we need to take this thing places sometimes. We have like 3.5 acres of land. Not a whole lot, but enough for him to kind of get familiar with it. He can't really you get bored pretty quick doing that, but he can figure out how to ride it. Well, there's a scrapyard down the road from my house, and I see inside their fence, they have like 5 utility trailers lined up there. And I know scrapyards aren't supposed to sell stuff, but I stopped by and I was like, hey, you want to sell me one of them utility trailers out there? And she's like, I don't think we can do. South Carolina, you don't have to have tags on trailers that are less than like 3,000 pounds or something. It's a weird rule, but all those small
like
utility. Okay. Yeah. So they're like, no, we can't do it. I was like, are you sure? Because I know you probably gave somebody like $50 weight for that thing, and I'll give you a few $100. And utility trailers are crazy expensive now.
Yes,
you go over to Tractor Supply and it's a little dinky thing for $1,500, or you hop on Marketplace and it's the same thing but 8 years old for $1,500.
Yep.
So I'm just hunting around, and he's getting impatient. He's really getting impatient. And I find this Army trailer on Marketplace, and it's pretty far away, but me being me, it's cheap. So, it's got to be a good deal if it's cheap. Nothing ever goes wrong when you pay too little for something. So I drive up to like North Carolina. I drive up to somewhere in North Carolina or Tennessee. I can't remember where it was, but this guy was in one of the local Overland groups here called Venture Unknown. They're pretty big down in this area. But he was one of the other members on it, and he was just kind of telling me about his trips, and he's like, yeah, I bought this thing because I was going to slide a camper in the back of it that's made for a pickup truck, and because it's, basically the same dimensions as the bed of a pickup. And I just don't have the time for it. So I'm going a different route and sliding it into something else because this one needed a little bit of work. And so I get it and I bring it home and I make sure it's 4-wheeler fitting in. I'm not that dumb. I've made mistakes like that before. But I come rolling in the driveway with it, and my son is big into Army stuff, and he's walking around it, looking at it. And I was like, you know why it's so tall? And he's like, no. And I said, well, ground clearance and off-road stuff. Who would need an off-road trailer, And he's like, not really connecting the dots, on stuff. But I was like, it's an old Army trailer. And when I said that, his eyes were like, boom. He's like, oh. So he's like, what is it? And I told him it's a M101A1, and he hops on Google and then he starts seeing what rednecks have been doing to these things for years, and he's like, Dad, these guys turned this thing into a camper. I was like, yeah, I know. That's what the guy was going to do that I bought it from, and I'm self-employed. I got a kid. I got acreage I need to take care of. I don't have time for this, I just don't. And I was sitting there talking to my wife, and I was like, honey, when I was his age, my dad built a house. I'm too old to build a house. I can build a little house on wheels, though. How about that?
Yeah.
She's like, what do you mean? I said, well, I showed her a couple of pictures. I was like, people turn these things into campers. I've got a full fab shop, and I've built like we don't really work on modern vehicles, but every time something shows up that's like, it's not what you do, but it looks fun, you kind of like, okay, I'll do it, So I've built a few camper vans for people and stuff, and same idea, just no motor in it, So I told her, I said, I kind of want to do this, but I want to do it like with them for real, Everybody's like, yeah, I had my kids out working in there, sitting there on their iPad, drinking a juice box. I was like, I want to teach this kid.
Yeah,
how to,
exactly.
my dad, I'm from a poor family in Pennsylvania. We had to work, So we, my dad made us and taught us how to do everything. He kind of taught me anything you can think of. We had a farm. He worked at General Electric as a welder, but we had a farm and we ate everything that came off our farm other than the stuff we traded at auctions for a long time when we were young. And I just learned how to do stuff, So it's like, I want him to experience that. So we just started figuring out a camper. I took my tubing software and I was like, this kind of looks cool. I'll make this design and started pricing stuff. And they're like, this will work. And I just don't have a lot of time and disposable money. And I told her, I said, well, I'll figure out ways to do it less than anybody's ever done this thing before, and I'm pretty creative with things. So I just started making a plan on, I have software for doing like roll cages and vehicles and stuff. I've got a tube and bender. We do some off-road bumpers and sliders and all kinds of just random stuff. It's never like anything that's on a popular vehicle that you can just order parts for, So I come up with this design on a camper and, I told her, I was like, I'm going to teach him how to weld. And she's like, I don't know. He's going to be a little worried. It's like anybody that starts welding, that thing starts sparking. You're like, ugh, you jump a little bit until you get used to it. But, he just digs it. He's always been a builder. Are your kids builders?
Big time, especially my 4-year-old. Well, he'll be 5 here at the end of the year. Big time builder. That's definitely what he latches onto. That and his 4-wheeler. But
Legos or cardboard box or everything.
So what he's been into right now is the magnet tiles.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so he's been making like lamps and like reflective things out of those. He keeps asking me to find him more like lights like this.
Oh yeah.
So that he can put them inside. And I showed him the other day how you can build like a prism and then set your phone in it and it makes a hologram. And, he thought I was a wizard, So that and Lincoln Logs, big Lincoln Log kid.
Yeah, Lincoln Logs are cool. That's the old time stuff. That's back when we only had sticks and rocks to play with.
Yeah. Well, and I think you touched really on the first thing that I wanted to talk about getting kids into it is how you get them into it. And I think the best way, and option A, is just a natural upbringing of like, this is life. I've always thought that kids are so predisposed to be learners that if you just put them in that situation, they're hungry to learn to do it. And I mean, girls too, but especially boys, just let them be outside and they're gonna love it. I think that they just naturally want to do those things, turn them loose. Yeah, they get dirty, whatever.
Right. When you take a little kid and you get them like a big job, this isn't stuff 5-year-olds do, like they start walking around, and they're all proud of themselves. And like, I can't believe I just did that. They're bragging. Tristan tells everybody in the world he's the best welder you've ever seen, and he's not that great, but he's not that bad for his age, and they just take a lot of pride in learning how to do stuff and saying that they could do these big kid things, and
absolutely.
My son gets around kids that are 4 or 5 years older than him and he starts talking about what they're doing. They're like, what? I've been playing video games. I don't know how to do that,
Yeah.
And it's just how, it's how your kids, they're just a product of their surrounding, A lot of parents are afraid to do stuff, so they don't teach your kids to do stuff. And I think that's the biggest way to get kids involved into it is to let them have a stake in the operation, even if it's checking air pressure on the tires. You know, a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, show them how to use the tire gauge and check it. And every time you stop, whether you need to or not, like, hey, go check those tires. And that's his job. You know, they get a shine to that stuff and they start taking ownership in it. It doesn't have to be something as big as a camper, you know, it's like anything that they could do. When we started going on our first trip, we started driving and we've been doing the YouTube thing, you know, so we were filming and it was like doing a little bit of chatter, you know, like we're done now. And so he pulls out his phone and we're driving and I said, hey buddy, look over there. And he looks and he's like, he sees people going down the road, like waving their arms and like, you know, awesome campers sort of thing, you know, and then all of a sudden that phone goes away and that kid's paying attention to everything around him. And we were driving through town and you see this guy go like this, telling him, you know, roll your window down, roll your window. And he's on my son's side. And he goes, he kind of like looks past my son. He goes, did you build that thing? And Tristan says, I built it, you know? and
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And then he's over there like a handful of our channel stickers, like trying to hand them out to people as we're driving down the road, you know? It's like, that's how you get a kid involved, is you get him some skin in the game, you know? And I really want my wife to be into it, because like when it's one person's thing, it's their hobby that takes away from their family. But if everybody's involved in it, it's family time, you know, and that's different, you know, that's a different, it makes everybody have more fun, you know, if they're all involved in it. So when we built this thing, I was like, I need to build this comfortable because my wife is not. So in a camping scenario, I am a hammock dude. I like, you know, you can fit your whole bedding system in this hand, you know, and it sets up in a minute and you sway yourself to sleep. And I get the best sleep in the world in a hammock, but that's not my wife. You know, my son could do that, but that's not my wife. She wants air conditioning. She wants everything, you know, and it's not unheard of now. You know, we're at that spot now where you can do all those things in a small package. Yeah. So we tried to do it all. So I'm hoping she'll start going on some of our trips too together. And I think that'll kind of tie it all together. It's not just us leaving, it's us all going together, you know?
Yes. Dude, that's, you're like speaking out of my own heart right now, because that's the biggest problem that I've had the last really 4 years. See, I keep having children.
Yeah. I heard that. And, you know how that happens, right?
Yeah. Okay. And, you know, my wife has either been, you know, with child or feeding a child for the last, I don't know, since like 2020. So, you know, she is not pregnant right now, I'm pretty sure. So, I'm really, really, really excited to finally get the whole crew together, because you're 1,000% right. That feeling of like leaving sucks. Like, yeah, it's cool to have guy time and stuff, but like, to be totally honest, and yeah, I like guy time, but I don't want to say I'm over that, but like, I want my clan time more, right? You know,
they don't have to be separate, though, you know? If like you guys go out with your kids and your wives, everybody can still have guy time over here and kids play together over here. You know, it's still the same thing, but we used to travel. So when we first started out, we were trying to get our business up and going. So we were traveling, trying to get our, you know, just be seen places, going to different shows and stuff. And I hated it. You know, it was just, we didn't have a kid at that time. So it wasn't like I was leaving my wife and kid, but I was still leaving her alone. And it's okay for like a day or two, but you know, you go to like a week-long thing here and a week-long thing there. And we're camping out of we've got like a 40-foot, gooseneck trailer that we'd haul like 6 motorcycles and a car in and go to different places, you know?
Yeah.
So we'd be living out of there while we were at these shows, and it just gets old. You know, I don't want to be away from my family. There's, your motorcycle there looks a lot like some of the stuff that was at this rally called the Smokeout in Rockingham, North Carolina for a long time.
Yeah.
We used to go to that thing.
Lowbrow used to put that on, right?
Lowbrow, they were involved in it a little bit, but it was put on by a magazine called The Horse, Backstreet Choppers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think
Okay.
they're still around now. I think they kind of went down for a while, and now I think they're back up, and they started doing the smoke out again. But it was fun when I was like 27, 28, 30, but then like the last couple of years was like, it's too hot. It takes me 5 days to recover because I drank too much, and
Yep.
so even when I get home, I still got a week of recovery before I feel like a person again. And I'm just over that, and I just don't like being away from the family that much. It's much better when everybody's going out together, and
Yeah.
once a kid happened, I was like, okay, well, he might like going to some of these tame places every once in a while. And he dug it. But at that point in time, I was just over it. I'm done.
Yeah.
So the first year we decided we're not doing these shows anymore. Instead, we went camping together. So he was okay with that then. And that kind of was maybe like one of our earlier kickoffs because we didn't really have a plan. I wouldn't call it overlanding, but we hopped in the truck with our camping gear and drove through the remote areas of Western South Carolina and North Carolina and found a cool spot to camp down by the river, so that was kind of like one of our first things, and we dug it,
That's cool. So I would say, I think the three of us we're kind of from the same stock for the most part, right? What do you think for somebody who isn't, like, dad was a banker or a lawyer, and they didn't grow up that way, and they now have a new Ranger and they want to go overlanding and they have a kid, and dad is real excited about this, but it's so foreign to the family that bringing it up to them is like, they would have no idea. So what could that person do to get the kid? We'll say the kid. We'll I don't want to exclude the wife, but we're going to focus in on the kids.
Right.
What can we do? What can we do to get a kid who has, this is a completely foreign idea, to get them motivated to go out and be excited about that trip?
Think of something small you can do on your, like a real setup situation. Think of something small you can do to your vehicle together. Or, have them come up with a list of things that you're going to take on your camp out and things to do while you're out there. And I mean, YouTube's a good motivator. Sometimes people take it too far and then they just vegetate instead of motivate, but it's a good thing. It shows people different. I wish this was a thing when I was little, because I could have broken a lot less stuff figuring out how to fix things,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I really think the biggest thing to do to get them involved is pick a small project and just tackle it. It doesn't have to be even like mounting lights on a vehicle. None of that stuff's all that hard, but pick something, get them involved in it, show them people on adventures like that, and they'll love it. What kid doesn't want to go camping, especially if you start them off early, and
right.
But you can't do a 10-hour drive in a car with a little kid,
Right. Especially if they've never been exposed to anything like that before. It would be rough. One of the things that I would say is, let's say that you have a kid who, again, they've never been exposed to camping or the outdoors. Obviously, if you're trying to get them to do this, you're engaged in their life. So you know what they like, right? Maybe it's a book that they're really into. Like, hey, man, we can go to a place that has a mountain that looks kind of like that mountain they're talking about in that book you're reading. Or even if it's a video game, like, dude, that place in Elder Scrolls, there's a place that looks just like that. You want to go see it? I know with my oldest boy, if I said, dude, I don't even want to say this too loud because if he's awake, he's going to come down here. But if I were to say, dude, there's this camp spot that I know of. It has these huge rocks and there's all kinds of snakes and bugs. He would literally have a bag packed and ready to go in like 3 seconds, So just something like that motivates them to like, oh, okay, like I could probably check that out. I think that something like that is a good motivator, and I'm fully on board with you. If there's any project that can get them engaged so that their name is on it, there's some responsibility that they carry. I think that's all ages. That's from 3 years, 2 years old to 18.
Right. Yeah, I had Tristan in my shop a little bit with me when he was young. I think he was probably 4 or 5 years old. Well, no, probably younger than that. He was probably 4, maybe even a hair under that. Like, all right, buddy, you hold this bolt here. I'm going to crawl underneath and put a nut on it. It's like you don't have to have him assembling a motor, just bolting a grill on or something, and just have them help you with these little things, and it gets them involved and start figuring out how stuff works, and Legos are awesome. Legos teach kids all kinds of things. And I really feel like that's really the gateway to everything, is just have them start doing big kid stuff, but let them be little kids still, Don't.
You know what I had was erector sets, and you don't see those at all anymore. You remember them? They had like the metal with the holes in them, and you could. The nuts
I
and
think
bolts
they've
and
kind of
stuff.
made a comeback on them. I think they started getting
That's
popular
good.
again. Yeah. Yeah, I think they're coming back around. Those were kind of fun because you could do more mechanical stuff with those versus structures. You could make cranes with little pulley operated, lifts on them and stuff. So they were more mechanical than just straight up building.
Yep.
Yeah, you could get like a basic kit and then roll into Radio Shack and buy whatever motor or solar panel or little fan blade or whatever with it and go wild.
Radio Shack.
Yeah,
I just mentioned Radio Shack earlier today.
I miss Radio Shack, man.
Man, I was trying to fool an alternator into thinking that everything's hooked up to it, that it's supposed to be hooked up to it to turn on, and the ways to do that are put a resistor in. Like, where am I going to go buy a 50 ohm resistor right now or something, you could do it at Radio Shack if we didn't get rid of them, but that doesn't exist anymore. So I had to fake it with a light bulb instead. So
that's what
this guy's going to have
line up light bulbs.
Yeah. This guy with a Cummins swapped, I think it's like a 72 quad cab International is going to have this precarious light bulb lighting up underneath his hood every once in a while.
So Nick, you had brought up, you can't have a 10-hour drive, and obviously this is very age dependent, but the drive time is much different with kids than it is solo. Like, I know for me, solo, basically as long as my bladder is good for, I can go. And as far as sleep, I may as well be on cowboy toothpicks because I can just go and it does not affect me in the least.
I get my best sleep while I'm driving. What are you talking about?
So one of the things that is like such a hot topic is like the screens and the tablets. So for me, like in the house, I am very anti-tablet. Like the kids they know to like, it doesn't really even cross their mind. Like, can I have my tablet? Because it ain't happening. However, let's say that we're going to the beach, like we go to the Outer Banks, right? Let's say that we get down there and the drive up Corolla is jam-packed and it's going to be 6 hours sitting there in the sun. They can have the tablet.
Right.
Those are the times on the drive that like I'm totally
emergency
cool with
use
that.
only,
Yes.
Like, when you got to cover ground, and or things are just miserable. That's when you pull out that kind of stuff. The radio chatter thing that you talk about. That's an awesome idea. I like that. I haven't done. You don't have to be on a radio to do that same exact thing. But that's an awesome idea to engage your kids and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and their answers to it are so funny. Like if you ask them exactly what's on the card, even if it is not at all related to what would be in their brain, it's like an episode of Kids Say the Darndest Thing. It's really, really good. Yeah, that's a good time. Yeah, if it's like broad daylight and boring highway and we've talked about like, they might get something or throw a movie on, but I think that you definitely have to use that sparingly. And like in an overland context throughout the day, my goal would be to not get to a point where it's boring, kind of try to plan ahead. But for me, where it does happen is like bedtime. And that's something that like my kids really like is like, we're in the tent, it's dark, we've talked, we've told stories, we've read a book, and now we can put a movie on to fall asleep to. And they think that's great. So we do that. Plus, like, if I want to escape and go sit around the fire for, an hour while the kids are asleep and have those types of campfire conversations, that can happen as well.
So did you see the inside of our camper?
Have you ever seen it? I did.
The one, it's not like it's a very big one because the camper's so small, but the one wall is a television. It's like, that's the purpose of that thing is sometimes you get miserable days while you're out there too. Absolutely. And you need something, you need a way to occupy your time a little bit when stuff just isn't working out right, or that's kind of, my son loves Major Payne. I probably will get like banned from the school if one of the teachers from his school finds out he watches Major Payne. I'm going to get some funny looks next time I walk in there, but like that is his favorite movie.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, all of my children are Tremors fans, 1 through 3.
Yeah.
They say butt blaster at least 20 times a week. So.
Your oldest is how old?
So she'll be 6 next month.
Okay.
So I'll have right now 5, 4, 2, 1.
Man. Yeah. Man. And what about yours, Aaron?
4 and 2. Both girls.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's fun, but one of the things that I always try to do is bathroom breaks, and I don't ask if anyone has to pee. It's just, hey, this is the pee stop.
Right.
You're peeing.
Right.
I don't have to pee. That's okay. You will. Yeah, especially moving with a group, because we're very regularly with a group. So I try my best to not, 30 seconds after we stop, we got to pee again.
Yeah.
But what's so cool about CAMO is genuinely no one cares. I think whoever is stopping that extra time in their head, they care more than the rest of the group does. And we've had a lot of trips where there were a lot of kids.
Right.
That's
what I was going to ask you. Like, how often is there kids on the trips? Because you guys are pretty far away from me. So, the chances of ours.
Yeah, I mean, anymore, almost every trip, truthfully, someone has a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it usually just one kid though, or is it like more than one person that has?
I'd say 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool because then they start building their own little community. So, that lets everybody. That lets everybody, wind down in a different way. So, that's cool.
Yeah. So we did. What was that? 4-day trip last summer. 3 days. So it was a longer trip, and I had Piper with me, and Max's wife ended up grabbing her for a while and like made bracelets and stuff with her, and that was like, man, shout out to her because she gave me a break. Like being with her for 3 days straight, like she was ready to come unglued in that truck. We were doing some long days and she wasn't ready for it. I was pushing her. Yeah, she was. The kids went off and did their own thing, and that was amazing.
Yeah, I had one of those where I was kind of on the edge of like, ooh, this is a little extreme. It was actually Max was there, and he actually had his daughter was with him as well. But it was winter. It was when we went and ran like the Highland Scenic Highway. It was cold, like. Cold. It snowed. Now, fortunately, my dad had the Hummer on that trip. And so he came and, as I was outside, like cooking, Dad was inside the tent with her, and in those situations, I find it to be very helpful to like explain what's going on. Like, hey, honey, it's super cold outside, but guess what? We have this awesome big tent, but your job is to stay snuggled up inside this sleeping bag, so you don't freeze to death. But, I think we had 2 diesel heaters available, on that one. So it wasn't, but I was nervous that she was going to be like kind of freaked out because it's pretty rough weather, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, when you freak them out too, that's when they don't want to ever do it again. Then it's it's punishment to go instead of enjoying it. So that's kind of, that's real important to make sure kids stay sort of comfortable while they're doing stuff and not, get bored out of their minds or turn into a popsicle. They're not going to do that again.
Yeah, you know what? She actually talks about that one all the time because that was peak Elsa being her thing.
Oh, yeah.
So
perfect.
We were in Arendelle, and she was pretty hype.
One.
She was pretty hype. Yeah, and I'm like, did you take your gloves off? Everyone that doesn't have kids that hasn't seen Frozen, like, what is this guy talking about? I'm like, did you take your gloves off and touch something? Like, look outside. Meanwhile, there's like a winter weather emergency going on outside. And I'm like, oh well, there's gonna be about 2 feet of snow on the trail tomorrow, so that's cool. But no, we had a great time. Bring lots of snacks. Definitely bring lots of snacks for the drive. Especially if you have younger kids, snacks that are nutritional because they are, especially if they're younger, their normal is gone. So the times that they want to eat, their breakfast is abnormal. They're probably not going to eat breakfast at breakfast time if you have young kids. Like they might, but probably not. The second that you get about 10 minutes down the road, they're hungry. So whatever that snack pack is, keep it handy and make it like this is an okay breakfast, not just Cheetos, because you're going to be dealing with that at the first potty break.
Right. Yeah, snacks are good. It doesn't really work well. So when we plan a trip, I try to make it so we can do something for a short amount of time, like every hour and a half. Like they got to be pretty frequent stops. But like here we have, we've been working on the South Carolina adventure route, and it's basically, have you heard of that one before? It's just like a big circle all the way around South Carolina. It's like 1,200 miles maybe or something like that. So we've been doing sections of it, and along the thing, there's all kinds of like historical markers for old battlegrounds and, just random things, just something to look at and get out of the vehicle every hour. Oh man, I think it caught on fire, but there's the UFO Welcome Center on the Scar. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah.
It is
somebody
crazy.
Arson that thing? What, did someone try to burn it?
It's been closed for a long time, which has been cool because we've been able to stop and, poke around a little bit, but I think that it like burned gone now, but that was a cool thing to just check this out, and I don't think it's recognizable anymore. I think it's melted all the way, but I'll have to check next time I go down that way. But, there's always cool little things like that everywhere you can stop by and see for a little bit, or go fishing at this stream for 30 minutes. Kids don't like to fish very long, but they like to, splash around in the water for 30 minutes and then get themselves tired out and take a nap, so you just got to break it up all the time.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. We like to, we're big animal people. Steve Irwin is kind of like my spirit, person. Yes. Big Steve guy. And, as soon as my kids were old enough to like appreciate wildlife is cool. Like we're watching old Crocodile Hunter.
Oh, you got to introduce him to Tiger King. Maybe not yet.
Yeah. But so like I took my 2 older boys to we actually talked about it last week, up to Benezet, Cinnamon, Elk County to see elk, and that's all they want to do. They want to go, and actually their favorite thing. There were 2 things. My son he likes to hike. My oldest son, he likes to hike a lot, so I always try to find a hike near water and a big rock to sit on and eat lunch, and that's like his thing. Dad, is there gonna be a big rock? Yeah, there's gonna be a big rock.
I'm not down with it.
Yeah. So like, if I can promise wildlife and a big rock, I'm set. Fortunately, in the woods, I can cover that.
Right.
So we're going to be pumped. But it's funny when I talk about that place with all those things, with seeing big bull elk and everything, they want to make sure that their turtles are okay. there's a tank. There's a tank in the visitor center, and it's got these 2 turtles in it. And they always want to go there and make sure that the turtles are good.
You mentioned those. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, like, if you can kind of, I don't want to say theme your drive, but like keep them engaged in something as you're going. They're going to latch on to something, and you'll find out what that is, and you just kind of play off that. And eventually you won't be playing off of anything. It'll just be what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
The Tristan used to, when he was real little, he used to just watch out the window for deer all the time. Which is a good thing for the driver to help him kind of spot them as you're moving along.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
you mentioned elk there, and when I lived in Pennsylvania, I really thought that was like the only place there were. And we're not far from Maggie Valley, Cherokee, North Carolina, and they have a very big elk herd there, which I didn't realize was as big as what it was. And we were driving, I think we were camping just outside of Cherokee somewhere, and we're driving down this road, and I come around the bend, and there's, like a road crossing sign, but it's got an elk on it. And I point to my wife. I was like, that's hilarious. Like, there's not that kind of elk here. We get around the corner, and no kidding, there is this giant 6x6 just grazing on the side of the road. I was like, whoa, that is awesome, and then from there, you're just looking for elk everywhere after that, just all kinds of little goofies. Oh, the punch bug game is fun too. There's not as many Volkswagens out there anymore, but my son loves playing the punch bug game.
Yeah, we do Jeeps, motorcycles.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, like when they get, I wanted them to do that so they could, they were looking for motorcycles. So that way when they're getting ready to get their license and stuff, they're already looking at that. Because I've pulled out in front of at least 3 motorcycle, like street bikes. I don't know if you've seen this or not. I think it's a problem DOT should address, but there's like a low beam side and a high beam side, and then the markers. So it looks like a car is coming at you with a headlight out farther off in the distance.
Yeah.
I've pulled out in front of them a couple different times.
Oh, man.
That was a bike. About killed that guy. But
and you're watching too. And you're watching.
Yeah.
I'm watching. Like I've seen them. I saw them, I'm like, oh, that's just a car. It's, 10 seconds away, and you don't realize it at night. Like there should be a green light or something on them that says I'm a motorcycle, and there's just not.
Yeah, I was always I never really had it. I guess I had some acrylic that I had illuminated in the FZ, but I always appreciated like an underglow on bikes at night.
Yeah, something that just makes it stand out different. During the day, sometimes the loudness of them will help, but that doesn't really matter unless they're just full throttle in it. It doesn't really matter what it has. You're not going to really hear it. But
no.
The lights at nighttime are a big helper, I think. I don't really like the style of like go park somewhere and turn on your lights on your motorcycle, But,
that's right. That's like
but
duck
it
dash
does make
level.
Yeah. But it does help people see them. The weird colored lights on them will help people spot them.
Yeah. So what about packing for kids? I think this is going to change as ages change, but let's talk little kids first. Packing for the little ones. How do you go about that?
I mean, you got a whole herd of them. How do you go about that?
So
I only ever had one.
So what I like to do, and really right now, it's mostly my oldest daughter and my oldest son. My middle son kind of to an extent, but really it's just like, hey, bud, what toys do you want to bring? But with the older two, I like to literally give them like a backpack or a bag and be like, hey, we're going to be doing this while we're camping, and I want to go and do this. We're probably going to see some of this. It might be hot, might be cold, whatever. Make sure you pack your stuff in this. And I literally do not care what they put in that bag, because in their mind, whatever they thought of at that time was, one, they were engaged in thinking, I might need this. And you'll actually sometimes be surprised. Like my son always brings chapsticks. He doesn't want lips to get chapped. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's smart. But the other thing is, which I think is way more important, is the other stuff that they brought is whatever in that moment is making them feel comfortable. And like as sappy as that sounds, that's super, super important. And it does not matter how stupid you think those items are. Like one of the things that my son likes to bring all the time is there was a pair of sunglasses that I got him. And the sunglasses came in this blue case that's shaped like a car and it's got a zipper on it. He brings that damn thing everywhere because whatever he finds that he thinks is special, he puts in his little blue case. It's important. Now, dad or mom who's listening, it's your job to disregard everything that's in those two bags that they pack, and you pack what's important.
I was going to say, like, you have a lot more confidence in your kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and this tags back to what we talked to in the beginning. You engage them in the trip. Like in their head, they pack their bag. And as they get older, they're going to be like, oh, like I actually have to think about like what I might need, you know, and you're probably still going to have to audit their bag. Right. But yeah, I love seeing the crap that my kids bring, you know, the random stuffed animals, the chapsticks, I can't even think of some of the stuff, but yeah, I really like that. And a lot of times I make them carry their bag too.
Yep.
Like you got to carry that in the car. You got to sit that with you. Like that's your bag. You know, it's kind of like,
I didn't learn that. I didn't learn that until later because I get stuck hauling all this crap around, and then I don't remember Tristan just started doing Boy Scouts, and you know, it's like he's like, you got to carry everything that you bring with you, you know. So then he finally starts thinking, because this kid, I'm telling you, he brings everything. If I told him to pack his own stuff, we'd show up and he'd have one T-shirt, and then every random goofy toy that he hasn't touched in years would be in that bag with him, you know. So. he definitely wasn't carrying all of his stuff before, and that was my bad on that one.
You know, I think a lot of people have this misconception that like, well, when I bring a kid, now I gotta have a big extravagant shower system, and I have to have a big extravagant bathroom, and I have to have a hot water system. And I mean, maybe some of those things, if that specific thing is like a specific need for your kid or your family. But if you just make going without that the normal, like if that's your normal and you introduce a young kid to it, it will become their normal. But there are some things that you absolutely have to pack extra of. Socks, underwear, shoes, towels, and wipes. I'm a big dude wipe guy, but I'm cheating on dude wipes a little bit with gator wipes. These things are marketed as paint cleanup, but ingredients wise, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with just like a little bit of alcohol in them, which is great. And dude, I use them for everything, and they're huge. They're like they're bigger than a foot by a foot per deal, and the box that they come in is massive. So yeah, gator wipes is the new hack for overlanding. But yeah, lots of wipes when you have kids, because kids are gross. They're going to do all kinds of gross things. They're going to pee on themselves on an accident. They're going to get snacks where snacks aren't supposed to go. They're going to spill things that they're not supposed to spill, which leads me to kind of a little bit of an aside here, but you need to be okay with that. Like, they're going to be messy. It's okay, because you can't get mad at your kid for dropping some goldfish on your carpet after you just drug your $70,000 build down a rock. Like, right. You know?
Yeah.
Like, there's some give and take here. The vacuum cleaner is going to get the goldfish out. You're not getting the big ass dent out of your door. Ooh, what do we have here? So I was talking about the gator wipes here, and Jared popped in. He said to check out the Rugged Revive wipes. So I'm going to make a note of that. The Rugged Revive wipes. That sounds really intense. Like
beyond paint cleanup.
Well, have you seen the menthol XX extreme dude wipes?
Aaron's got it. Hold on.
I got my Cresto. That stuff. That's the one you want. These are the best ones.
Yeah, that'll bleach you.
That's right. You'll be clean and you'll smell good.
People pay extra for that.
Oh, yeah. I mentioned towels. Towels is one. Sometimes, for whatever reason, I forget towels, and you will want towels. Especially you're going to have a kid and you're probably going to go near water, because water is a feature of all things cool, right? Fishing, you're going to a lookout, you're going to a waterfall, water is involved. And you know what kids are? Magnetic to water. There is a biological, chemical attraction to children in water, and they're going to get wet. So just plan for that and bring lots of towels, and you're going to be really happy that you did, because they're going to get wet and your stuff is not. So bring extra towels.
You mentioned the showers.
Well, the little compressed tablet towels, but those are amazing. You shouldn't eat them.
Aaron tried to kill me.
What? I was gonna let it happen.
That's not a Mentos.
But we just got off the trail. We're all happy. We just conquered Potts Mountain very easily, and I was like, "Oh damn, my breath must stink or something," And I'm like, "Thanks." And at the last second, I was like, "This feels weird," and I looked down, and it's got little hairs coming off of it. And I'm like, "Oh my god, it's a towel!"
I was gonna let you just.
Next time, put it in a Mentos can.
Yeah.
Surprise!
It looked like one of those little pink, wintergreen candy things, but they were just white. They're just a little round tab thing,
Yeah,
they're great,
delicious.
Yeah. First glance, look delicious, but no, I think I got 200 of them that fit in a soda can size space. You throw a little water on it, you got a wipe, and they burn on the fire.
Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah. So what else? So I mentioned extra shoes, right? There's two footwear items that I think are imperative for small children. One of which is the Croc. Yep. Yes, Crocs are ridiculous, but you know what? They rock for camping. The other one is just a classic shit kicker muck boot. The Walmart specials, they're probably just going to wear those. But honestly, my kids are hoopties and they're barefoot anyway. I could bring 40 pairs of shoes and they're not going to have anything on their feet. They're going to kick them off and they're going to run around barefoot, and that'll be that. Yep. But I at least try with the Crocs and the muck boots. Especially that trip, actually, Aaron, that you were talking about. I'll never forget the kids all crouched down in that puddle catching tadpoles out of the puddle.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, that was a trip that I had one towel on, actually. We slept on a river that night, and I had one towel, so... Oops.
So you mentioned showers earlier. What do you do with your kids for showers on it when you were talking about that?
So
Presto cherry wipes.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time they're getting the sponge bath, but right. I did recently get it's like a 7.5 gallon water sprayer, and the brand that I have is probably among the lower quality variants. It was given to me by the brand. And I'm not going to name them because I don't think that it's that good, but it works really well for me. There's just better ones.
Right.
I would say get one, because I use the hell out of the one that I have. It's kind of chintzy feeling, truthfully. Right. But it does have pretty solid pressure. You could shower with the thing. It's got enough pressure you could spray a radiator out if you had to, clean your windows off. But that has been my oh wow, this kid is filthy. That's my cleaner. Yeah. It's also black, so if you leave it out in the sun, it actually is very warm when it comes time to wash them down.
My son has
I use
always
that fire extinguisher too.
Oh, yeah,
oh, that's
that thing's
intense.
Cool. Blast the dirt off.
You don't have to squeeze it the whole way. Like you can control the flow.
Dubs is a bidet. That's not a
bidet. You know what? No, I'm not. Well, the one that I have does, and I'll tell you what. Sometimes, it's been a hot day. It's better just do it.
Time to drain the swamp.
Yeah, listen, it's got multiple sprayer attachments. I would like to look into getting one that is a little higher quality that I trust a little bit more. I think the electronics that are inside the one that I have are just really low quality. The pump and the actual structure is fine. But the buttons and the wiring are undersized and kind of chintzy. But the sprayers that double as drinkable water, potable water carriers are pretty sweet. And that's a real low cost option versus building a whole ass shower,
Right. So my son is one of those kids that complains about taking showers all the time. And when we went to go to that first bigger trip when we went to Cape Lookout, he's also big into 3D printing. He found this shower head that he 3D printed. Ooh. And it screws onto an empty 2-liter bottle. So the kid doesn't want to take showers at home, but anytime we go anywhere, out comes this little thing that he screws onto the bottle, and then all of a sudden he's just going to town all the time with it. So, that was kind of a fun way that he got to make something himself and then, put it to use to it. So he's big into gadgets, but it was pretty neat.
That is sick. I like that. Yeah, that is cool. One of the things that we've talked about a good bit on here, but we haven't for a while, is first aid. And first aid for kids, man. Kids, more than likely, if they're younger, are not going to wreck themselves. However, they're gross. They're going to get cut up. And especially mine that don't wear shoes, they get little cuts all over themselves and scrapes all over themselves. I just Neosporin all of them. Like, they get cleaned up, and then it's like, all right, time for some lotion. They're just one big slimy Neosporin ball. By the end of the trip, if you got young kids, like, go ahead and get the Mickey Band-Aids, Sometimes you got the little hearts, big feelings, and they might not actually be hurt, but a little Mickey Band-Aid makes them feel a little bit better. Stuff like that is pretty helpful. But on the more serious side of things, like kid-specific medication, like
Benadryl.
I don't know. Here's one that came up in conversation the other day. Did you know that like Tums and Pepcid are like straight up not recommended for children at all? I fortunately didn't learn this the hard way, but I had just was thinking because we're taking a trip, I wanted to get my kit kind of updated, and I saw that there was like Tums for kids, and there's a children's Pepcid. And like, oh, that's weird. I wonder why. And it can actually be like dangerous to give them the adult dosage.
Why don't
never
they tell
would
us
guess
this
that
stuff?
Yeah, exactly. You would think that on a bottle of Tums, it would be much more apparent. Like, don't give to children under, I think it's like 9 or 12, maybe.
Wow.
I never would have guessed that. I mean, is it just calcium, like bicarbonate or something in Tums? But yeah, I guess it could be too much for a kid's stomach. So yeah, kid specific stuff. Don't bring like horse pills for cold medicine and expect your 4-year-old to down this horse pill. Get the liquid stuff, pack it away. Make sure that if something does happen, you take care of your little one, especially if you're going to be out there in a real remote location where you're not, right next to a Rite Aid within 30 or 40 minutes drive. So yeah, if you have a first aid kit, you're going to bring a kid, go through it, make sure it's kid appropriate, add your Mickey Band-Aids, and hopefully you don't have to open it. If you're my kids, you probably will have to open it.
Yeah, definitely open it.
Yeah. Do you ever forget anything for your kids and be somewhere and look and you have nothing?
Yeah, I think we've had a few times where I thought my wife did that, and that's terrible. But luckily, kids stuff generally isn't that expensive if you need to swing somewhere and get something.
Yeah, I've left without baby wipes before. That
Did you
sucks.
ever throw away a necessity on a trip because you put it in the wrong bag?
Oh, I don't think so.
I threw away one of Piper's favorite outfits at a gas station because I thought it was a dirty diaper bag.
Oh no!
Yeah, I didn't realize it till that night. She's never asked for it since, so I don't feel so bad. But it was like, maybe don't throw old clothes and dirty diapers in old Walmart bags.
Yeah.
Like they need to be separate.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I've talked about this before, but get your kid their own dry bag to put their dirty stuff in. Whoever does the laundry, this is not me being misogynistic. I'm just banned from doing laundry. So,
I'm close.
My wife is the laundry doer. I am the laundry hoofer from upstairs to downstairs and vice versa. But it's much easier to have all the kids' stuff together and all your stuff together. At least that's works better that way in our house. So I like to segregate them. Plus, kids are super gross. And that stuff fares much better inside of a dry bag when it's dirty instead of like a leaky Walmart bag or in the corner of the duffel bag with the clean stuff. So what about when we're actually at camp? What tips can we think of to get kids kind of engaged at camp and what camp life looks at overlanding with kids?
Simple foods that kids can cook on a fire themselves. I think that's something they'll look forward to it the next time when they go to do it.
You know what I've really had success with is the little shaker popcorn popper like I used in Michigan.
Yeah.
Man, Piper loves that thing. She's asking for popcorn all the time. He never eats it. Gets sidetracked by the time it's made, gets thrown to whatever. But it cost me 30 cents in popcorn, and
so this is gonna sound weird. But Tristan was watching this dude that was taking Skittles and putting them in that when he was cooking popcorn. Like he was doing it on a stovetop, but you take all one flavor because we messed up and used just taste of the rainbow and it's disgusting. But pick one color of Skittles and throw some of those in there and do it. It's pretty cool. It's fun,
Yeah.
Changes it a little bit.
Yeah, that's neat. That's cool. I never would have thought of that. So one of the things that somebody threw in the chat here, Jared, was RC crawlers for around camp. Dude, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
drones.
Absolutely. Yep. So my son just saw his first drone in action. We went to Wolf Den Run, I brought his 4-wheeler and he was ripping around on the track, and Paul, one of the guys from CAMO, took his drone up, and dude, he was mesmerized. He's talking about Christmas in July right now. He's just like, Dad, I really for Christmas, like I'm planning on being good and all. And, I'm like, okay, bud, yeah, he's super into the drones. But yeah, the something because you can run out of jobs to do at camp, which we'll talk about in a minute. And, kids don't like to be idle, and yeah, they could find something to do, but man, if everyone, and they don't have to be super expensive, $100 gets you an SCX 30 or SCX 24.
Yeah.
And everyone can have one, and you can make some damn good memories and have a lot of fun pulling those things out. So yeah, I'm fully on board with that. That is cool. I like when we arrive at camp, giving the kid a job. Like, this is not your camp, Dad. This is our camp. And for our camp to work, you got to help me. And by you helping me, this is your camp too. And I don't know. I think it's just natural. Like, if it's theirs, they're going to respect it more. They're not going to, aimlessly run around and trip over tent stakes and it'll just be that much more special to them.
It doesn't matter if it takes longer for the job to get done. If they're involved in doing it, it's like, I could have probably built that camper in half the amount of time if it was just me tooling away at the wee hours of the night, But that wasn't the point of it. The point of it was to have him involved in it. So anything you can do, setting up your tent, clearing the brush out from where you're going to put your tent at, any of that kind of stuff. The kids love doing it. Give them a pair of snips and have them start trimming the bushes back,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not quite at turning my son loose with a pocket knife age yet, but we're getting there. But that's such a, at least for me, I vividly remember the first time that I was turned loose with a pocket knife. Subsequently cut myself that day.
First time stitches too, but
but like that was like I'll die remembering that, and I'm sure to some people listening, like, you loser. But, actually, people probably think that a lot. That's okay.
That's okay. But, I live my life my way.
Yeah. But dude, I remember, it was my grandparents' farm, and actually, Meadville was where their farm was.
That's where my wife is from, is Meadville.
Okay, cool. So they had a farm in Meadville, and they had I think 3 fields, and below one of them it was really just a swamp. We for whatever reason loved playing on the swamp side instead of the forest side. I to this day don't really know why. We were young and stupid. But I was in Scouts, and we had just done like the pocket knife thing, and like now I'm ready to go. I'm pocket knife Nick. I'm gonna make all kinds of stuff in the woods. And I think I made it about 30 minutes before I cut my finger, and of course I hid it from everybody. I was so ashamed. I'm thinking, if my grandmother sees that I cut my finger with a knife in those woods, I won't even be able to butter my own bread.
You're done.
So, yeah, but yes, having the kids set up camp, fire safety is a big one. Especially for little kids, man, it's tough. Like, they get it, but they also can kind of be like goldfish, you got to remind them they're going to get it. Don't freak them out about the fire. Respect it. Don't be afraid of it. Because if they're afraid of it, then they're not going to learn about it.
Right.
Have them respect it, and that's important. Let's see, what else? One that I love is flashlights. Man, if you got little kids, go to Walmart, buy that big-ass pack of headlamps and flashlights. Kids love that shit. They're going to get lost. They're probably going to get broken. Some of them might not even work out of the package. Who cares? Wrap that $20 up in your total trip cost and whatever,
With glow sticks, too. Glow sticks are a good one.
Yes.
Dude, yes. So my son literally just asked for, like tonight, glow sticks because, in his mind, he said, Daddy, if we use glow sticks, we won't have to keep putting batteries in this flashlight because, he's making those lamps and things. And I'm like, yes, that's pretty smart. All right. So I got to find a bulk glow stick, spot, probably Amazon, I guess.
I was gonna say Temu, Alibaba.
Yeah, I got some
probably toxic.
Smoke
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So what about bugs and rain and stuff that's less than ideal at camp? How do we handle that with kids?
So I like to use rain the rain flies that you use over top of hammocks when you hammock camp. I have one for my hammock, and I have 2 extra ones, so that way you can have plenty of area that's still semi-covered so they can hang out, The bugs, thermocells are about the best thing if you can get a few thermocells around you. I have not been able to find anything that works much better than that. I think those little kids' bracelets work pretty decent, but still, I don't think anything touches what a thermocell does as far as one specific area.
Yeah. Usually, as the sun's going down and the dew is starting up, that's usually around the time that, the kids want to have actual boots on. So I usually, really all of the shoes actually in our house are pretty well impregnated with permethrin. Mm-hmm. Whether or not it really works, I don't know. I think it does. I hope it does. As I've been using it more on outerwear, I think that I've seen less and less ticks on me and my family. So, It's kind of one of those 6 in one hand, half dozen the other, because, you know, yes, it's tolerable and safe for humans, but is it? You know, who knows? I don't know.
Right. It is for today.
It's better. It is for today. For me, it's better than Lyme disease and Rocky Mountain spotted fever and alpha gall. Those things I know are really bad, and I don't want any of those. So we permethrin pretty much everything. Actually, when we went to Michigan, I usually permethrin balm actually my bags and everything. Like whatever I'm bringing, even my tent, actually, the perimeter of my tent, I permethrin the hell out of, which has worked really well. That's something I don't think I've talked about.
No.
But the whole bottom of my tent on the exterior, I have permethrin, and that works very well. I have not had any creepy crawlies attempt to enter from the bottom side. So yeah, a little tip there, I guess. I'm not sure if it actually works, but I think it does. So give
you
that
know what
a
else
go.
works? Rooftop
Your giant
tent.
ass light.
Rooftop tent.
Oh, yeah. No, you know what? That's a good point. That light draws a shitload of bugs up to it. And like, yeah, they're up there, you know, they're around. They're not on you. Like,
Yeah.
that light is nice to light up away from the campfire.
Yeah, I love that. Honestly, I think that was one of the smartest little hacks. And
what is it?
Man, when everyone's trying to cook, it is cool. Yeah, Aaron, why don't you kind of explain that? You'd probably explain it better than me.
I basically just mounted 2 $12 Amazon LED pods on the top of the camper, just shove it in a pole, and it's just a cigarette lighter plug that goes into the bed sockets, and I just pop up the tent, and what's it up in the air, 20 feet or so?
Yeah, it's high. It is high.
It's up there, but it's made like the light's high. There's not a lot of shadows. It's not in your face. You're not getting glare with it. What
It's
I tell you, 22 watts.
Right.
Yeah.
Low.
It's not ignorant brightness. It's a low. I don't know. I don't want to say temperature because it's an LED light, but it's a low intensity.
Right.
You know, it's not gonna wreck your night vision.
Right.
It's not gonna help it, but it's not gonna wreck it.
You know what I was thinking with that, actually, that would maybe even be like sweeter, is if you put
tape.
Exactly. I was gonna say Laminex tape on them.
Yep. That's in the plans.
Yeah. But yeah, when we were when it was getting late in Michigan and you had that thing up, I was like, dude, this rocks. Like, this is really comfortable. And it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't in your face, because you don't see the light source. It's just kind of like, oh, our area is slightly illuminated, you know?
Yeah.
If that really does suck all the bugs up there away from you too, you know, I just leave it that way. That's pretty cool. I never thought about giving them something to go after instead of going after your area.
Yeah.
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 And it draws 22
too.
watts. Yeah. Yeah. But 22 watts, I can run that all night on the power bank, run the fridge. Like, nobody's going to care about that, you know? It costs me nothing to run it. And with it pointing down too, like, I don't think it would be hateful in a campground. Like,
no, yeah, because it's like you said, it's like a ring, and it's not projecting out. You know, it's projecting down. Yeah. I need to make one. I have an idea of how to put one on the roof basket of the Yukon so that it's not, you know, it's very inconspicuous, but available. You know, because the basket itself is already freaking 9 feet up. So
yeah. I have more of the tent pipes if you want them.
I actually
you want to do.
So I was in the woods today, actually, and I forgot. I don't actually remember why it's up there, but I have an old aluminum flagpole up there.
That'll work.
That'll be perfect for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna hinge it and do one of these deals. I think that'll work pretty well because I really like that, and I think I'd like to make one. I think it keeps the bugs away. And it's sweet. Speaking of bugs, man, if you got little ones, a bug hunt, I'm telling you, bring a little jar. I still have a terrarium set up at my house from bugs that Bo caught when we were in Maryland.
Did you bring home a millipede?
Oh yeah. So that was the other thing. We actually, like, because he's really into it. So when we got home, I had him sit down with me and research, like, where do millipedes come from? What do millipedes eat? what kind of dirt do millipedes live in? So now, he's a millipede expert, and he'll tell you, like, well, you don't really have to feed a millipede, because as long as you keep throwing dead leaves in there, they'll eat the mold and the aphids, and, so there's a lot of learning, yeah. But I'm telling you, if you don't know what to do, stop making it so complicated, especially with little kids. Little kids they want to explore and touch stuff and feel stuff. It is literally as simple as flipping over rocks. That is 2 hours of guaranteed excitement for a kid. You as an adult, you might not be that excited about seeing your 37th isopod, but you know who is? Your 4, 5, 6-year-old kid.
You really want to captivate them, go catch crawfish out of the creek.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Give them a gold pan, too. That's
a lot of fun. That's smart. Hey, that's like a thing, really.
Oh, I know.
More so than I thought, especially in our area. You can pan for gold.
We do this backpacking trip, and I didn't ever realize that I don't know, maybe it's not even legal in the rivers that we're on, but we do this backpacking trip, and I'm not going to sit there all day long, but it's fun to like go down there for 30 minutes and dig around in the dirt and the stones in the bottom of the river and just see if you find something, just something to pass the time a little bit.
Have you seen the guy that dives all these little streams and stuff through like eastern United States? Like, he goes all over the world, but he's mainly in the area we are, and he'll go up in these mountain streams and like record some really rare darter or just the wildlife that's in those streams that nobody gets to see, and how bright and pretty the fish are. And he'll get down into some of these rocks and stuff. He'll find the right sandstone, I guess it is, or know where the river used to be, and he'll like suck the dirt out of the bottom of these streams and pan for gold while he's doing all this stuff. It's a really cool YouTube channel.
That is cool.
I can't remember the name of it, but I'll find it somewhere and link it one day.
Yeah, that's cool. This is another topic that we've kind of touched on here a little bit, but safety for the kid without bubble wrapping them, and kind of what freedoms do kids get at different ages. For me, for my 2 oldest, it's basically they can do whatever they want as long as I can see them and they're not touching somebody else's stuff. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Kind of my rules.
Yeah.
No
and actually, I actually want to correct what I said. It is my rule with them is not if I can see them. They don't know if I can see them. My rule is if they can see me. I literally don't care. Like, you want to go and peel the bark off that dead log, dude? Like, go ahead.
Have at it.
Have at it. Just don't touch anyone else's stuff, and don't go in the fire, and don't go in water that's deeper than your ankles or whatever. I don't care.
Right.
And as kids get older, and for me, I only have young kids, so I can't really think back to what I was like at different ages, but I'm not really sure what the appropriate age is to, go hike and come back as it's getting dark. I guess for me, that'll probably just depend on the kid's ability. I feel like as a parent, probably if your kid can do that or not.
We just got back from a trip not too long ago where it was the first time we took his 4-wheeler in our camper. And I was so excited and nervous because this property that we're on was probably 6,000-7,000 acres. A big chunk of land with miles of trails on it. And I wanted to just hop on the back of the 4-wheeler, let Tristan kind of do the perimeter of it and then go ride, and he's always been reluctant to like get lost, and I want him to be a little bit more like I was when I was little, just not quite that bad, Yeah. And he wouldn't go by himself the whole time. And then it was about time for us to leave, and I was ready to put the 4-wheeler back in the camper, and he's like, "Dad, I want to go for a cruise." Touchdown,
Yes.
Like, I'll be sitting here all day long. Yep. Go cruise, and I kind of knew where all the areas were. Something that kids think is fun is just give them a Baofeng radio and let them go walk out with that one. And then they can check back in with you, and make sure you talk to them like you're a truck driver when you do it, because it's way more fun that way. So, give them a radio.
Army. Yeah. So this is great. And, when we were at my parents' house, probably, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago now, went into the attic and pulled out my massive G.I. Joe collection.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I bought, what did I get? They're Buzz Lightyear spaceship walkie-talkies, okay? And we've been playing like Army Man with the G.I. Joes and the walkie-talkies. Dude, I might be having more fun than them. It's awesome. You know, like I call in for the helicopter, you know, and like my daughter comes in with the helicopter. Dude, it's great. So yeah, to your point, give them radios. And also, like, if you're in a group, let them talk on the radio with the other drivers. And if the other drivers have a problem with that, you just get another group.
Right.
Yep. You know, because those people sound lame. We like to bring our kids and introduce the next generation of overlanders so that, you know, they'll also keep old junk on the road.
If you have a pretty decent vehicle mounted radio, like I use a ICOM 2730, and I can get some space stations with it. And Tristan thinks that's the coolest thing in the world to hear the broadcast from the International Space Station and stuff. You know, it's not entertainment for a real long time, but you know, that gives you another 20, 30 minutes every time.
Dude, since he's real into 3D printing, you know, if I don't remember what the program is specifically, but basically, there's a device that you can plug in that'll communicate with your graphics card, and it'll transcribe the radio signal from the space station and actually give you the images that the space station is sending back to Earth.
Wow, that's cool. That's
yeah,
neat.
I'll. My grandfather is like a super big ham radio
I heard you
guy.
say that. I'm not at all, but I have pretty decent equipment.
Yeah, I'll ask him about that because I think it's pretty simple to do, like literally like a plug and play program, and it's all you know. You're not like spying, you know. It's public,
right.
But I've always wanted to see it. I've actually never seen it, but I've seen the images because he has like binders of these things. And
if you
I
figure
think
out what
a
that
kid
is,
would think that's sick.
Oh yeah, if you figure out what that is, let me know. He'd love to make it.
Yeah, I'll give him a call tomorrow, and I'll find out what that is. I think that would be pretty sweet. Yeah, I think if your boy's into like that, dude, if he's downloading pictures from space, he's gonna be pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the other things with safety, I'll be honest, I'm so far in this direction that I think that people get kind of, I don't think intimidated is the word, but they kind of look at me like, what's wrong with you? I kind of let my kids wreck themselves. Like, not to the point of like hospital at all, you know, but like, you know, hey man, just so you know, that rock looks wet and it's pretty slanted. That's it. I'm not saying anything else, you know? And like, you know, because if it's like going bowling, and if you've only ever bowled with the bumpers up, you'll never learn how to bowl. You'll just know that something will fix it and you'll end up in the place that you want to be. But if there's no bumpers there, and there's no guardrails, and you know that if you push it too far, your ass is going in the gutter. You're not going to go there. And whether or not a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old understands that analogy, the feedback loop of if I do this, then ouch, is universal across all ages and all languages.
Yep. You got to burn yourself before you know it hurts. You know, you just got to let them figure it out.
Yeah, they're going to be okay. Kids are resilient. They heal quick. I mean, obviously, like, don't go. Yeah, they bounce. Like, you know, but also, like, don't be an idiot about it and let them, like, actually, you know, hospitalize themselves in a bad way.
But juggled hatchets?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You ever stand on the side of a cliff with Steven?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you ever float your bed down a flooded river?
You ever shoot potatoes to the other bank of the Great Lakes?
This sounds pretty literal here.
Dude, so when we, you know, I don't know if Matt is still, you know, with us live here, but we basically handed Matt's son a very, very well-made potato gun and cast bait into the next Great Lake. I mean, my reel was just like zzz, ping, almost instantly. And man, that was so fun.
I'm glad
but yeah,
we did
stuff
that.
like
that
that
was
is
worth dragging it.
Oh, it was awesome. Especially, I mean, I one of the first campsites that we got to, for any talented fisherman, it would have been an amazing fishing spot. I am not a very good fisherman. I'm also not really a drinker these days. However, that evening I was. And I decided I was going to get myself out on this log that was in the middle of this stream. And I'm sitting there, and what I had rapidly hydrated with is starting to catch up with me. And I was just about to kind of call it quits, and all of a sudden, I hear boom, splash. And I look up, and these guys are up on the hill RPGing me with a potato.
Oh, man.
Oh, good times. Yeah. But yeah, man, just don't worry about your kid, man. They're gonna figure it out. And the more stuff you let them figure out, the happier you're gonna be, because you're not gonna have to keep saying, don't do that, don't touch that, don't go up there, don't climb that, don't go under there, because they're not gonna want to do that when they learn what those consequences are. It's best parenting advice I can come up with, at least thus far. It's worked a little bit.
Yeah. You have 4 and you haven't lost any yet, right?
Yeah, no, they're all in one piece. I did
one got 3 elbows.
Yeah, I did turn my daughter's arm into a piece of spaghetti. She barrel rolled the 4-wheeler off a hillside. Oops. But she's back in the saddle, so we're all good.
Quick. Very quick for that.
Yeah.
Impressively
yeah,
quick.
She basically got it off, and then she had to wear a little brace for like a week or 2 after the cast. And then she got, cleared. And I said, hey, you can go ride again if you want. She's like, really? I said, yeah, I think we're going to stay away from hills for a while. But yeah, you can ride, and she's back on it. So
that's awesome.
So that was cool.
We had a time where the throttle cable on Tristan's 4-wheeler broke and hung up, and he put that sucker into the fence. And I was like, oh, man, he's not going to want to get back on that thing again. But it's like a couple days later, out there doing it again. I was like, all right, good deal.
Yeah.
Try not to scare them so much they don't want to do it again,
Yeah. And great point there. And this is kids of all ages. Like if you have a teenager that's never been out in the woods and they're kind of latching onto it, and then they, I don't know, fall when climbing rocks or something. And you can kind of tell that they're, and you can kind of tell that they're not like hospital screwed up. The more you can laugh it off and make it to be like not a big deal, the better. And the younger that they are, that you can start this, like even like, I don't know, man, even like a baby. I'm not saying a baby, but like toddler, toddler takes a tumble. I'll be honest, I don't even get out of the chair. I just, like, hey, you're good. Come on over here. Like, yeah, they're crying and stuff. But man, if you get up and be like, oh my gosh, little Tommy, are you okay? That's like a canon event for their whole life, where they're going to expect this big reaction and make mountains out of molehills. And, I'm sure like CYS is listening, and they're like, this guy's psychotic. He's racing these abused children.
It's all documented here.
It's all lie. Yeah, you heard it here live. Nick doesn't take care of his kids. But yeah, man, I think if the big picture is, if all your focus is on keeping your kids safe, they're never going to learn how to keep themselves safe.
Right.
Your job is to give them the skills to keep themselves safe, not be their bumpers all the time. I think that's a good wrap up for that one. And that kind of segues into the next part here, which is if a trip sucks or if something sucks, the way that you as a parent navigate this is so important, and not just for the trip, but like for life. A really good example of this is, without getting into too much detail live here, we found ourselves in kind of a hairy situation in West Virginia, which required very creative winching. And, I told my son, like, hey, man, listen, we're in a little bit of a bad way here, and this is kind of an all hands on deck thing. It's raining right now, and it's pretty cold out. We got to handle this, and we can't get mad at each other. No one could get upset. No one can get nervous. We got to do this as a team, And we did, and that worked out. Or if it's raining and the trip blows, don't sit there and sulk in it. If you, for lack of a better term, if you start bitching about stuff, then your kid's going to start bitching about stuff. Oh, yeah. But if they see that, well, like mom and dad don't freak out when that guy barrel rolled his truck off of a cliff and they had to set that guy's leg, they're not going to freak out and have anxiety, right? They're not going to have test anxiety because who cares? It's a test. We just fixed that guy's leg,
Yeah. Yeah, flipping out, even if you don't have kids there, it doesn't do anything. You got to stay calm and work your way through the problem. It's a terrible, situation. I don't really, what's that?
Terrible situation when that stuff happens.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's just like, it doesn't, all it does is make everything worse. You just have to focus on what it is and work your way through it.
Yeah. Yeah. And be quick on your feet too. Like, if the weather does turn and it's going to be total crap, it is also a really good opportunity to show your kid resourcefulness. Like, hey, man, tell you what, the next 2 days look pretty rough. Do you want to go and do X, Y, Z? And it could still be an adventure, but maybe that adventure is you go to the, World War II museum, or you divert and go see some stuff in Gettysburg. There's stuff that you could do. Yeah. Yeah. Again. Yeah, ride the Cass Railroad. Just shout them out all the time.
Every time.
Yeah. But, yeah, what is the no one to hold them, no one to fold them, no one to walk away, but do that with a little bit of couth. Don't let your emotions show. It's a really good opportunity to be a leader because keeping them positive and engaged is really important, especially if it's the first trip and shit starts going sideways. A bad first impression into a hobby is not great. So, and maybe this is something that we didn't really talk about, but I would say make your first trip kind of a known banger. Like, there's 20 different things in this little area that are super cool that my kid's gonna love. And, maybe hit 4 of them and all of them are great. Great. Now they're hooked. So yeah. Have you guys had any disaster stories? I can think of a couple that were kind of rough.
I think so. I mean, even when things don't go planned, it doesn't mean, or go as planned, it doesn't mean the trip's ruined,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the worst one I had was when my collarbone was broken and we did that Blackwater Falls trip and the diesel heater took a dump in the middle of the night. I had to get out and shake it before it started again. That one was going to be a cold night, but I don't even think Piper woke up for it. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one was crisis averted.
There was a snow trip that I took Bo on, and it was in Bald Eagle, and it was getting cold. Now Bo is as hardy as they come. The kid's like a tractor. And however, around dinner time, he started to look real tired, and I'm like, "Are you good, man?" And he said that he wasn't feeling good. And I'm like, oh, man, what's wrong? And I could tell, like, the kid's nose, which if you can hear now, like, I'm getting sick. And when I get sick, my nose is inoperable. I literally, I keep Afrin on standby. It's holstered. It's part of my EDC if I get sick, because it's quite literally the only thing. I'm just anatomically, my sinuses are awful, and I gave them to my son. And it was the first time that it ever really happened to him where he was old enough to talk and explain what's going on. And he started to kind of panic that his nose wasn't working. And, now fortunately I had a bunch of stuff and I was able to get him comfortable again. And, I literally like neti potted his nose, and that helped. And I get him into the tent and I'm like, hey man, It's cold out. Let's keep you out of the cold. Bust the iPad out. We throw some movies on. I get the diesel heater going. Okay. Well, I thought that I had the diesel heater set to 2. Okay. 2 of, I think it has 6 settings. It was not on 2. I must have either bumped it or I don't know, but it was on 6, the max setting. And I go back out, and I wasn't planning on being out of the tent away from him for a while. I was just going to talk. I was actually out with Steven, and I was talking to Steven for a bit, and I was packing stuff up, and I sat down in the chair by the fire for a couple minutes, and all of a sudden I hear like this, like crying. And I'm like, what the hell? And I get up and I shine my light, and Bo is sitting under the hitch of my truck. And I go over there and I'm like, dude, what's going on? Well, he's like sweating. And it was like 150 degrees in the tent. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, I'm so sorry. I felt so bad. It was like he had even left the zipper like open to the tent. And when I went inside, you could have like cut weight for a fight in the tent. I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. I just left everything else that was outside. I went in and sat with him, and he was okay the rest of the night. But yeah, like you're gonna screw up, you're gonna bring kids, you're gonna make a mistake. It'll be okay. He still likes coming out with me.
Yeah.
Here's another tip that I guess is just kind of a random one, but give your kid a camera. It doesn't matter what it is. We like, I don't remember what they're called. There's probably a million of them if you get kids' digital camera on Amazon, but it's waterproof and it has a bump case on it. And they take a bajillion stupid pictures, but they love it. They love it because they see dad taking pictures and now they're taking pictures. And like when your kid says, Dad, let me get a picture of your truck. It looks really cool here. Dude, it validates like your whole life. I'm telling you. It's the coolest thing.
Finally, somebody else agrees with me.
Yeah. It's so funny. It's like my Nissan, it has basically at this point, the motor transfer case and body panels are the only thing stock on it. And the only comments that I get on that truck from literally anyone that is not like, in our group or in our hobby is like, why is your exhaust up there above your mirror? Talking about the snorkel. But, and it like, my wife laughs about it all the time, but like if we take the Yukon out, every 8 to 80 blind, crippled, like we get out, someone's talking about the damn Yukon. Mm-hmm. And it does kind of make you feel good when your kid is the one that's like, hey, this looks sick, and takes a picture of it. And actually, I'm glad that I thought about that, because obviously that happened, and I haven't pulled that picture off his camera. I'd like to do that, but get him a camera, and obviously as they're older and they have phones and tablets and stuff for themselves, I'm kind of excited for the day. Like I really enjoy making videos. Truthfully, I don't care if anyone watches them. It's very cool that people do. But I enjoy doing it. I like editing them, and I like to go back and look at them. There's family that likes to look at them. But I think it'll be really cool when they're kind of old enough to get that second perspective. Like, hey, Blair, send me that stuff that you took, and now we can make that together. Like, that's sick. Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
When we started doing our channel, I told my wife, it's like, I don't know if anybody's ever going to watch these things. And they still haven't, just so you know. But I was like, this is going to be really fun when we get real old and we can go back and just watch all this stuff, Yes. It's cool to have, because like you save. I don't really enjoy editing, but a lot of it is I feel like I'm cutting my son out of stuff all the time when I'm doing it. And that's hard to do when everything that we do is us together. I hate deleting so much stuff. But I don't delete it forever. It just goes onto the external hard drive, but I'm never going to open that up, but it's so easy to pull up YouTube and watch this from, 15, 20 years ago. It'll just be there all the time. That's like my favorite part about it, I think.
You know what I've come to find is that the people who would be predisposed to skip through if your kid is doing something in a video, number one, are probably not folks that you would really, I'm not saying they're a bad person, it's just you wouldn't
align
with them, right?
Yeah.
They're not. And also, how can I say this? A lot of them are the guys that have the $70,000-$80,000 build that doesn't have any scratches on it, but talks from a position of authority.
Mm-hmm.
I don't align with those people. I think it's very cool that they do their own thing, but we're not on the same planet, and I'm okay with that. I get my enjoyment out of seeing other people being happy. So, and a lot of that stuff, I'm getting ideas, I think it was actually one of your more recent videos when you did take the four-wheeler out. And I thought to myself, I really ought to just get myself a damn four-wheeler so that I can combine overlanding and riding four-wheeler with my son who loves it. And actually, all the kids love it. So now I got to come up with how to stack now just 2 four-wheelers, but eventually 4.
Oh, yeah.
Probably 6 at some point.
You're going to have to buy a school bus and convert the back half of that into a toy hauler.
Yeah. If they would have latched on to motorcycles, it's a lot more modular. I could figure that one out. But I like that. I made a video, when we went to Elk County, and it was 90%, my boy. And, was it popular? No, but I don't.
Okay.
Listen, I still got to go to work every day, and YouTube's not my job. The CAMO Convoy Podcast has not been a lucrative investment. It's just fun.
Well, that's kind of like my regular job. Self-employed. Everything it was packed up to be.
Yeah, but you know what? You don't have to explain to anyone why you're sleepy tomorrow.
No, they'll know.
Yeah. So one thing that we didn't talk about, letting them drive. I was blessed enough to be given the opportunity to drive all kinds of stuff long before I was legally allowed to operate anything, right? And I've done that with my kids from the time that they knew that cars go vroom vroom. They were on my lap doing stuff, driving the tractor. My daughter, it's the funniest thing. She's like the little ballerina princess, but she can literally operate my tractor's front loader. She could drive the tractor and go pick up a scoop of dirt. She can't quite reach the pedal properly to make it drive properly, but she can literally go and do that, and she's not even 6 yet. When we went to Wolf Den, genuinely, the first almost 3 hours, my son drove the whole trail. If anyone from Wolf Den is listening, no, he didn't. But he literally sat on my lap and drove the whole time. Obviously, I'm not going to tell him to break any laws here. Operate motor vehicles when you're 16 and have a license and all that happy stuff, right? Don't go to a private park and break rules in a park. That said, your kid's going to have a really good time if you let them get behind the wheel in a controlled environment. And they're going to really love and latch onto that and build skills. If your kid can control driving in a muddy rut and get out of it in a controlled way, when it snows, when they're 16 and they're driving to work or school, guess what? It's not going to make them panic because that's chump change compared to what they did with dad on the weekend. And those are all skills that are really important because I don't know if you've noticed, but people are getting worse and worse behind the wheel.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm very pro getting kids driving stuff as soon as possible. Now, I realize that, a lot of people don't have, the opportunity to do that. You live in, Alexandria, Virginia. You're not exactly getting your kid behind the wheel. I understand that. But that said, the sooner that you can share that with them. They're going to really appreciate that, and it's super fun. As a parent, watching your kid do that is pretty exciting, and it's really funny. I actually I let Bo do the recoveries when we were in Wolf Den, and he thought that was the funniest thing.
What was he specifically doing?
So we had one of the trucks. There was a section where there were 2 deep ruts that were where the tires would be, and then the center of the trail was real high. And one of the trucks was getting bellied out. So I had him. He was in the driver's seat, and it's funny. He's standing. He's tall for his age, but he's not tall enough to drive. And I'm like, listen, just going to give it the tiniest bit of gas when we're backing up, and you're going to feel it kind of bump. And as soon as it bumps, just roll on. Don't floor it. Just roll on a little bit. You pull him right out. As soon as I say stop, and he pulled him right out. Now, obviously, he's on my lap, and I can, I can hit the brake at any time. But like when we were actually driving on the trails, like truthfully, I probably touched the wheel, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times. And it was just because he was like, I want to drive up on this. And I'm like, I don't really want to drive up on that. There was towards the end, when he got the millipede, that was kind of the end of it, right? Because all he cared about was, I got to make sure my millipede's safe. Dad, you drive. I'm on millipede duty. So after that, I was like, oh, damn, I guess I got to drive now, But, yeah, it was a good time, man. We had a blast. And now it's all he's talking about. The problem is, my Frontier's a king cab, and my daughter, she has a lot of obligations with like dance since she started school. So she's not quite as available as my son is right now, but she probably asks more than he does. Like, Dad, when are we going? I want to go off-road with your friends. When do I get to see Piper again? Is Piper's dad coming on this trip? Because if Piper's dad's coming, then Piper will be there, and I want to go see Piper in the woods. You
got to jump on that, man. You
gotta jump I know. Yeah. And the problem lies in, I can't really fit 2 kids in the Frontier. I can, but it's super tight. Now, fortunately, she's now in like more of like a modular booster. And I think if I get another one for my son, I'll be able to make that work so that they can both go and we can do like some legit off-road stuff. Now, obviously, I can fit all kinds of stuff in the Yukon, but I don't really want to beat the Yukon up.
Yeah, I feel you with that. I got like crazy amounts of money in a $400 vehicle, so don't forget about that.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's been good to me, and it's truthfully, it's like it's too clean to be doing like the things that I'm doing with it, but that's what I bought it for, and I just am accepting that's that's what I'm doing. But I'm not going to take it up Potts Mountain. It'll do the soft wheeling and it'll do plenty of 4-wheeling, but I'm not going to beat it up.
I think I'm not going to try to destroy my Yukon. I've got it looking good and everything's solid on it now. I enjoy it. I don't want to destroy it, but I also don't really want to baby it real bad either. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to try to squeeze it into a trail that it just doesn't fit,
Yeah.
Nick will.
Yeah, man, how I came out of Michigan without any serious like scratches is actually beyond me. I had just one that was kind of deep, and I actually touched it up and then buffed the touch up, and you actually can't say. I just got lucky. I could do that fix a million times and it wouldn't come out as good as it did on that one random chance that my fix was good. But yeah, I don't want to ever take that on something that narrow again. I probably would have cringed a little bit if my Frontier was on that, truthfully.
That is bad.
Yeah. This was on the MVUM as a 4-wheel drive, drivable road, ATV and OHV trail, and snowmobile. Actually, it was everything. And it started out really wide, and we were on it for a long time. And then all of a sudden, it was the same road, but it was probably 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles of about half a truck width.
Yeah.
Single track, basically.
I've been on some like that where like man, this is kind of boring. And then all of a sudden it just slowly keeps creeping and creeping. And I don't think I could walk sideways down that trail without hitting something now.
Yeah. And I think, just to wrap up the stuff with the kids, I think that a lot of people overthink it. And I think that this is becoming more and more popular. And I say that because I'm seeing it more and more on social media, because folks that are kind of in our age bracket are, I don't know, maybe we have the disposable income, or maybe, I don't know, maybe parents are more engaged with their kids now than they were. I don't know. Maybe things have changed, but it seems like it's more popular to try to get kids out. And I see all these questions are like, do I need this? Do I need that? Do I need a brand new truck for this? And my thoughts are that people are overthinking it beyond belief. If you're listening to this, if you wound up on this channel and you're hearing me and you have a Chrysler Town and Country, I'm going to tell you right now, you can overland the entire state of Pennsylvania in your Chrysler Town and Country.
That Ford Focus 100%. I told you I had before, I put that thing places that I would not want to put my Yukon. Like, if you're committed, you can get it, you know?
Yeah. And you don't have to go beat your rig up. Like, you could take quite literally anything with four wheels that's street legal up to Elk County, Benezet, and drive all through there and see all kinds of awesome stuff, pull over a million different places and have a wonderful time. You're not going to beat anything up, because at the end of the day, it's just camping. It really is, like, obviously the off-road and the off-highway stuff is part of the hobby for most of us, but it's mostly just gravel, and you're going to be fine. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Overseas, a Corolla is like an off-road machine for people to get to work. So you're going to be okay. Just do it. Just be comfortable outdoors, learn problem solving together. And if you're new and you're learning stuff, guess what? You get to share that with your kids as well. Yep. So yeah, just do it. Just do it. You don't need the big crazy builds. And I know, like, we're not exactly the greatest poster children for keep it simple, but that has been part of our enjoyment in the hobby, is the wrenching and all that stuff.
We're motorheads, so we like to do that part. Yeah.
We're sick. We can't help it.
Yeah, I have a condition. I like to be poor. Yeah. Yeah, man. Just do it. I think that's all there is to it. You guys have anything to add to bringing kids?
Funky flames. You ever throw those packets in the fire that change colors? Yeah. Really, really cheap on Amazon and Temu and stuff compared to Walmart. The exact same packaging and everything. I think I got like 20 packets for $8. Like, we can feed a blue fire all night.
Yeah. If you take a rubber garden hose and you shove a copper pipe in it, that'll make funky flames for quite some time. I'll be honest,
I
don't.
Will too.
Yeah, black. Cool. Well, before we head off, we do have some folks that are in the chat. So, is there anybody that wants to pop in and have any comments or anything to say or talk some crap before we head off? We'd like to hear from you.
While we're waiting on them, the other trick that you and I utilize, long distance travel, is night. We let the kids pass out in the car seats.
Yes.
Get where we're going. That was huge, man.
Yeah, I prefer to drive at night. I have pretty good eyes, which is thankful for that. So that I don't have the astigmatism, so lights and stuff don't, bum me out. And there's no traffic, so I like driving at night.
Yeah.
Here's a good tip. So bicycles are great fun, and kid size does not take up a lot of room. Yeah, exactly. And if you got a little kid, man, the Striders are great for cruising around and exploring stuff. And the odds of them wrecking themselves are pretty slim. Not zero, but pretty slim. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm just trying to think some news here. Really, really appreciate everybody that went out, signed the support document to keep Sally Ridge open on the Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway. I've been in contact with some folks that are intimately involved in that, and basically it's going to stay open for lack of I had actually gone as far as I was about to pull the trigger on arranging a massive convoy to go down there on September 14th. But before I did it, I figured I ought to reach out and see how well that would be received. And the responses that I were getting were basically like the mom and pops would absolutely appreciate that because, everyone's going to go there and eat. But the support has been outpoured beyond belief that it's going to stay open, and fortunately, the judge for Owsley County is a great guy. And basically, he hasn't closed anything in the past. Why would he start now? And I think that the area knows how important it is to everybody. And I think it's going to stay open. So just to triple and double down, if you haven't done it already, Backroads of Appalachia or Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway Facebook, you'll find a link for the document, the petition that you could sign as a support to keep the road open. The more names, the better. Like I said, have your dog sign it and stamp their paw if they have to. But I think that we did a good thing there. When the Overland group really comes together, I think that this is not the first time that folks have come together in a massive way very quickly. The Jeep incident with the guys that were lost but weren't really lost comes to mind. I mean, let's not forget we mobilized an airplane. I mean, that's pretty cool. So, the hobby has all kinds of different sects and niches in it. But when push comes to shove, everyone comes together. We do some pretty cool stuff. So, Nick, I appreciate you coming on. We'll have to figure out how to make the camo connection happen. We probably could get down to, what is in North Carolina? Uwharrie. Yeah. And make something happen down there. Yeah. I have never been. I need to get down there.
It's been so long for me. It's like I've got the itch to go to Uwharrie. I want to see the Tacoma go up. Is it Daniel? Is that the real rough one that's there? I think. I think it'll go up that with the camper on it.
Oh yeah,
it's a buggy line. I think. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah. Well, that thing's like maglev anyway, so it's not like it's gonna flip over.
Yeah. Yes.
But cool. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys listening. Nick, Aaron, thank you guys again.
Yep.
And until next time, guys.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming. Shiny side up, muddy side down. Stay rowdy.
See you guys.